Well, Michigan basketball and Michigan hockey both advanced tonight. I am watching Michigan State basketball, and they are down versus Connecticut right now. But earlier today, they beat Wisconsin in hockey to advance. So could both Michigan squads advance tonight? And could it be 5 Big Ten teams in the Elite Eight in basketball? That would be insane. Michigan owned all the Big Ten teams by 4 games. So, even better for Michigan if that was the case. Revenue share, etc. The number 1 seed, Michigan, beat the number 4 seed, Alabama, in basketball tonight. Michigan won 90-77, double digits. They beat the 9.5-point spread. Versus the highest scoring team left in the field, and that was Alabama. Philon for Alabama was unconscious. He made 3 after 3. He had 35 points for Alabama. He had 7 rebounds, and Alabama was held to 14 threes on 47 tries. So they tried to bury Michigan, but none of them went down, only 14. Yaxel Lindenborg for Michigan finished with 23 points, 12 rebounds, 7 assists, and 2 steals. Michigan had 22 assists on their field goals tonight, which was awesome. Elliot Cadeau, the point guard, was beat up and pushed down all game long, but kept getting back up. That's just what he does. He had 17 points, 7 assists, and 5 rebounds in this game. Roddy Gale finished with 16 points. He had 3 rebounds and 2 blocks as well. Michigan had 8 blocks as a team and shot 50% from the field. They also shot 48% from 3. The free throw shooting for Michigan was atrocious in this game, which kept Alabama in it. Michigan was only 11 of 20, 55% from the free throw line. That is the worst thing, but, I don't want to be a Debbie Downer. Michigan pretty much dominated this game. From the first, Alabama got lucky from 3. Sherrell bricked one in. It hit off the back iron, and it was just stuck there. Boom, went in. Lucky as hell. Alabama was up 3. Then Yaxel Lindenborg had a layup for Michigan, but Wrightsell hit a 3. Then Jemison had a layup, and then Sherrell hit another 3. But Cadeau had a jumper, and it was 11-4. Alabama at 15:38 left in the first half. Alabama was finally called for being out of bounds. 3rd time is the charm early in this game. They were stepping out of bounds, and it was not called. The officials were not looking at that until later. Yaxel then made a 3 for Michigan. Then Yaxel made 2 free throws. Mara hit a jumper for Michigan, but Wrightsell answered with a jumper. But McKinney hit a 3. Gale was in too early, I think. He had some turnovers for Michigan early. Why was he in so early? Is what I was asking myself at this moment, as McKinney then drilled another 3, but Philon answered with the 3 of his own. It was 18-17 Alabama at the 10:59 mark. Allen hit 2 free throws, but Johnson had an alley-oop jam. Then Allen had a dunk of his own. Yaxel hit a 3 for Michigan, but Philon answered And then Millette had a 3 for Alabama as well. Morris Johnson, though, had a dunk. And then Cadeau had a jumper. But Jemison had another 3 for Alabama. Mara had a putback jam, though, for Michigan. Philon hit a layup. And then Cadeau made a 3 when Alabama thought he wasn't a threat anymore because he missed a few early on in this game. He made this one. But then Jemison made a 3 of his own. And Yaxel had a layup. Sherrell had an alley-oop dunk. It was 38-33 Alabama. With 5:02 left. It was nonstop action. And it was the under 12 TV timeout. Yeah, that's right. Alabama already made 8 threes. And Michigan was exerting energy to stop them from making those threes. So I was a bit concerned at this point, but I kept remembering that Michigan is a team and they care about one another and they can score in every different way. And Roddy Gale, finally made a running floater over the top of Alabama's defense. Then McKinney hit a layup and was fouled, but there was no call. But then McKinney hit another 3 for Michigan. Wright Seller hit a 3, but then McKinney answered again with 3. Then Trey McKinney, the freshman, went unconscious, and he made another 3 for Michigan. Or no, that was Roddy Gale, excuse me. Could have been McKinney. 1-1-1. Michigan was up to the challenge of making 3s versus Alabama in this game, I'll tell you that. Philon made 2 free throws. And then Morris Johnson missed a second layup. And Michigan was called for another foul with 31 seconds left. It was a 47-47 tie. Michigan could have had the last shot in this half. But they went early. And then they fouled Philon, who had made 2 out of 2 free throws with 6 seconds left in the first half. And McKinney was fouled on a 3, but it wasn't called. And the Crimson Tide led at halftime after an 8-0 run, 49-47. At halftime, Alabama had made 9 threes already. Michigan had made 8. Alabama went to the line multiple times, and they were 10 out of 10 from the free throw line. Michigan didn't go to the line. That was the difference in the first half, and I kept telling Kyle and my dad and everyone else that was here that Michigan was going to destroy Alabama in the second half. And to open the second half, Yaxel Lendeborg drove it home. I was wondering what Michigan had to do to get a foul call. Yaxel did not get that call. But Yaxel then made a 3. And then Yaxel got a tip-in rebound for Michigan. Sherrell hit a layup. And Namari was wide open from 3 and missed ugly for the second time in this game. Michigan kept blocking shots, though. And Burnett then took it to the rim for a transition jam. And Alabama had to call a timeout at 17:04. Michigan had the 54-51 lead. Gale made 1 out of 2 free throws. And that is going to be a theme for Michigan in this second half. They made 1 out of 2 a lot. Yaxel is the Big Ten Player of the Year for a reason, because the next possession, he had the ball, and he could have drove, he could have shot. He was feeling out the defense. They dropped, so he drilled a 3. Why not? Then Philon answered very quickly for Alabama with 3 of his own. Yaxel then had a layup, and then Bowen hit a 3 for Alabama. But Gale hit his second 3 of the game for Michigan. McKinney had an amazing layup where he do-si-do, cut through a guy, spun, laid it in. Cadeau made a 3, and Michigan was up 13 points. But Wrightsell answered with 3 again. Michigan led 70-60 at the 12:09 mark for the under 16 TV timeout. Johnson missed another bunny for Michigan. Then he fouled an Alabama player out of just frustration that he could not get the bunnies to go in. And it was under the 12-minute mark, so he had the TV timeout there. Cadeau drew a foul. He's brilliant at doing that in this game, but he was only 1 of 2 from the charity stripe. Michigan's defense stepped up, though, late in this game, and Alabama didn't have a point for about 5 or 6 minutes, while Mara had an alley-oop jam. McKinney made 2 out of 2 free throws. Wrightsell fell down and got back up. I always thought that was a travel. But he made a floater, and he was fouled, but he missed the free throw. Philon, though, later made 2 free throws for Alabama. Then Mara was shoved, and he was sandwiched and pinballed in between 2 Alabama players, and they didn't even look for a flagrant foul. And in my opinion, it was. Michigan led 75-64 at 8 minutes left in this game. Philon hit a 3, but Mara had a putback jam for Michigan. McKinney missed another free throw. You know, I don't want to dog on this guy. He's an electric freshman, the best freshman in the nation, maybe, in my opinion, for the best team in the nation. He went 1 of 2. The officials were calling the beating that Cadeau took in this game. They were seeing the beating that Cadeau takes in a game, and they were calling it. Johnson then made 1 of 2 free throws for Michigan. Cadeau hit a floater. Philon made a 3, but Cadeau answered with a 3 of his own. It was 84-72. At the under 4 TV timeout, Jemison had a layup, but Johnson had a dunk. Finally, he got on the board. That's what he needs to do. You're that close to the rim. Why are you trying to lay it in and miss? Put it home with authority. You're 6'11". Well, he did it finally. Then Cadeau made 1 out of 2 free throws again. And then Johnson missed 2 free throws for Michigan. It simply was just not Johnson's night. And, you know, for a 6'11" player for the University of Michigan to play that poorly and win by 12 or however, 13 points, that's pretty damn good. Yaxel missed a free throw, but he made the next one. Michigan was 1-2 from the stripe many times, as I said. But Gale then threw one down off a no-look pass from Cadeau. That was beautiful to end this game. Phylon hit 2 out of 2 free throws. But the game ended after that. Michigan won 90-77, as I said. They advanced to the Elite Eight, and barring Michigan State and Connecticut, they're the fourth team from the Big Ten to make it to the Elite Eight. It could be 5. But let's go back to earlier in the day, shall we? Where is it? Number 1 overall, Michigan hockey destroyed Bentley. Michael Hage was out due to that injury from the Big Ten title game versus Ohio State, a rival. In the first period, Michigan had 4 shots on goal early, but couldn't keep it in Bentley's zone. They just couldn't keep it at their end. They could not possess the puck. TJ Hughes, though, then finally got a goal for Michigan off a turnover in Bentley's zone, and it was 1-0 Michigan at 10:11 left in the first period. Seconds later, at 9:53, Michigan was called for a hooking, and Michigan cleared 3 times and killed that Bentley penalty. Power play. With 5 seconds left in the first period, Robertson for Michigan got the puck after a defensive scrum and skated to the blue line of Bentley. And he beat the buzzer with a goal from the blue line to put Michigan up 2-0. It was his first goal in Michigan in college hockey, in the NCAA tournament, etc., etc. First goal ever for Robertson, who stepped up when Hage was out. Michigan was possessing the puck towards the end of that first period, and at 17:19 left in the second period, Bentley had to give the best power play unit their first chance. But they killed Michigan's power play at that point. But at 12:58 left, Michigan got another power play chance. Almost every third chance they score. Michigan is a 31% power play juggernaut, which is first in the nation. And Michigan put a flurry of shots on the goalie, Sweden, for Bentley. And eventually, Perron found Moldenhauer for the one-timer. This was a 3-0 game for Michigan. At 9:11 left in the second period, TJ Hughes put one in front of the net for Muscat to score the goal, and it was 4-0 Michigan. At 7:43 left, Bentley got their second power play chance, and Ivan Kovic had another save, his 13th. And then he had another save, his 14th. And Michigan killed their power play again, and Bentley was still scoreless. Then Bentley was attacking for a period of time, but Jack Ivan Kovic was playing great. And it was 4-0. And at this point, I was glad Michigan was up 4-0 because basketball was about to start, and Alabama and Michigan were in the Sweet 16, and that's when my attention went there. I understand that Michigan scored a 5th goal. I didn't see the rest of the game there, but I assume that they made it to the regional final as the number 1 overall seed. So 2 number 1 seeds for Michigan advance on Friday. Tomorrow, a number 2 seed, the Michigan women's basketball team, can advance as well. We'll see. But tomorrow, My grandfather of 83 years old is getting married for the second time. I haven't even been married once. This guy's a player. He found another lady to marry, so I have to go to a wedding tomorrow. But what a Friday night it was for Michigan athletics. Let's see if Michigan State can come back versus UConn. It's tied 44-44 right now, and Michigan State can take the lead. Hey, what a day to be a Michigan fan. What a day to be a Wolverine fan, first and foremost. Advancing to the regional final in hockey and advancing to the Elite Eight that will take place on Sunday versus Iowa State or Tennessee in basketball. Let's go blue. What a day.